a foregone conclusion, because I've got to say, like, Mike, you are an old man, right? That's all I'm saying. Mike, you're an old man. If it was Mike 10 years ago, it's 10 years ago, right? He'd be 48. He'd destroy Jake Paul, right? Destroyed. I mean, seriously hurt him. But at this age now, and because Jake Paul's been continuous, sometimes you got to take away your sentimental emotions and say, like, you know what, realistically, you're still an old man trying to do something, even though it's like gimmick boxing, but it's not gimmicks when you're getting hit. But really and truly, if Mike claps him, he's gone. I don't care what anyone's saying. But it's whether Mike can clap him, and I think Mike could clap him and should be able to clap him, but I'm also taking into consideration that you are 60 years old.
There's a saying that you don't play boxing.
No,
and
you don't.
And there's a lot of YouTubers out there and misfits. These influencers are getting into boxing nowadays. You got like Soul Puppy, them sort of boys. Like, what do you think of that whole thing? Do you think it?
You know, there's a slight resemblance between you and Puppy, right? You know that. There's a little better looking version. You know, there's a slight resemblance. Come on. Right, no. There is a slight resemblance, bro. I was like, yeah, you know what I mean? What about him? You know what?
Is it good for boxing, or is it demeaning? Like, you know?
No, it's not. It's not demeaning. I tell you when it was demeaning. It was demeaning when Jake Paul was calling out Canelo, and I want to fight Canelo, and I beat Canelo, and blah 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 blah, and everything else. But what I realized is through guys like KSI, who I've got to give massive props to, because it was KSI and Logan Paul that brought this whole thing to the forefront. Yeah, that made it so big. I rate the fact that they are committed to this thing now, because the majority of guys have got professional boxing trainers. You know what I mean? I know Daly Ojaderi, who's a really good up-and-coming coach. I used to manage him years ago. And but he's one of these coaches. And I know he's making more money training these guys than he does from professional boxing. Right? Because that's how much money is in this influencer boxing. Because people come out, fans come out. So I don't think it's a bad thing, because it's still putting spotlights on what the real thing is. And now with the influx of, because that's not real boxing. Let's call it what it is. It's influencer boxing, right? I don't want to be too demeaning, but it's joke boxing, right? Then you're seeing with the magnificent, I'll have to call it as it is, he's excellently Turkey Al Sheikh, right? Yeah. What he's done, he's pumped the cash into the game now, right? So fighters are saying, right, I've really got something to fight for. Like, see, like before, I want titles, I want this and that. Yeah. And we're seeing certain guys who are world champions still living in council flats, right? So you think, and that's no disrespect to anyone living in council flats before anyway. So I came off of a council estate. I'm proud where I've come from, right? So when you're seeing that, now there's money in it. There's a new drive. There's a new hype behind it. There's new people. It's being risen.
Fights are being made.
Yeah, the most important thing is fights are being made. And it's like certain fights that I think about. I swear to God that Turkey Al Sheikh's bugged my house, and I think that's got something to do with Spencer Brown of Gold Star Promotions, right? I'm just going to be real, because Spencer Brown was the guy that kind of was the man that linked Tyson Fury to Turkey Al Sheikh, and then for the back of that, all of this whole thing was made out in Saudi Arabia, because you got to think, their private investment fund that they've got, yeah, they've got something like $500 billion, right, for sport and entertainment. $500 billion,
big,
right? So when you see that can only be a good thing, simply because it's bringing eyeballs to the sport. It's maybe not bringing eyeballs to the sport in Saudi Arabia, like in spectators, right? But globally, it's bringing eyeballs. Globally, and look at this. They're doing a Terence Crawford fight next month. They're doing the fights over here as well, with the Joshua versus Dubois. That's what you originally asked me for, but we just went off on to tangents. Don't worry about it. I bring it around, right? Well, so because we're seeing all of those things happen, you got to say massive props, because apart from being a boxing historian, I actually love the intricacies of boxing. right? But I like it at the standpoint where it's being respectful that we're getting gladiator versus gladiator. So we're going back to the 50s, we're going back to the 40s. You know what I mean? We're going back to the great times of you know what I mean, someone like Ezra Charles, who's one of my favorite fighters. You know what I mean, former light heavyweight, but former heavyweight champion of the world. You know, when we're going back to those times there, we have nothing more to say. Like we're grateful. We're going back to those times of like a Joe Lewis. We're going back to the times of when Ali fought everybody, even when he wasn't champion. Right now, it's happening, and it didn't matter if you took an L. Why? Because we could bring you back. And Turki Al-Sheikh's been true to his word. Look at that. Zhang went out there, and Zhang went out there, lost to Hergovich. But Zhang's still a name. Zhang made himself back, came back, knocked out Joel Joyce twice. Then Zhang gets a big fight with Deontay Wilder.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Deontay Wilder gets a fight against Joseph Parker and gets outpointed, soundly outpointed by Joseph Parker. But you know, like he was trying, he's still a name. You know what? We're gonna bring you back. And when they do, they brought him back for the 5v5. He gets knocked out by Zhang, right? But this is boxing. You know what I mean? And it's simple with simple analogy. Because A can beat B, B can beat C, but A can't beat C. This is how it goes. This is boxing. So for those things, I'm amazingly grateful to be around at this time now. And the plethora of money that's being brought into the game now, it's gonna help young guys that I affiliate with or young guys who are trying to come through. And because of that, I mean, I get a lot of speaking engagements to speak on boxing now because of everything that's happening. So I'm grateful, man.
Brilliant. It's brilliant. What do you think is happening to British boxing, though? Like, can we still fill out Wembley Stadium? Like, are we still going to get them nights?
Wait. See, can we still fill up? Just remember, September 21st. If you guys haven't bought your ticket or tried to buy your ticket, because they'll be very difficult to get a hold of your ticket, September 21st, you have the IBF World Heavyweight Championship with Anthony Joshua fighting the now champion in Daniel Dubois. That's going to be a great night of boxing because if you look on the undercard, it's a great night of boxing.
Before we move on to the undercard, tell me, how does this fight play out?
I like Daniel Dubois a lot. You know what I mean? I got a lot of time for Daniel Dubois' trainer, Don Charles. And I'm so happy for Don Charles for him getting the opportunity to look after his family, right? And these are Don's words, not my words, but Don will tell people, oh, well, Spencer kind of instigated Daniel coming to me. I didn't. I played a part in it. I don't want to say how big my role was or whatever, but I know, like, when I speak boxing, especially to people of my own community, it carries a lot of weight. So if I say, well, maybe you need to work with this guy here, people are going to listen to me because, right, it's coming from me and they know that I fanatically studied this sport. How the fight pans out, in the beginning, I was very critical of Ben Davison. Thinking like, you know, these little young whippersnappers, blah, you know what I mean? But I see the synergy. I've been in the gym. I've been fortunate enough to be in the gym with Anthony Joshua. And I see the synergy that they got. And not only that, but I have to give credit to the fact that with Anthony Joshua, he's profoundly professional. Seriously. It was an honor for me to be in the gym and to see him train, right? Just to know, like, you are profoundly professional. And I've been fortunate enough as a young kid, right, going over to Catskills Mountains and watching Lennox Lewis train when he's getting preparing to fight David Tua. To watch, that was in 2000, to watch Anthony Joshua train, it was like they're very, very meticulous to detail. And because of that, Don Charles is a good trainer, and I'm glad that he's getting the accolades right now. But they're working at a higher octane level, right? But this is boxing; anything can happen. But because they're working at such a high level, and I see many flaws in Daniel Dubois. The major flaw that has been corrected was more of like when people's questioning his heart, because everyone said, I ain't got no heart, he ain't got no ticker. And I think he's proved that in his last two fights, the Big Baby Miller fight, and also in the Hergovich fight, he proved that he actually has got bowl, right? But maybe those guys didn't hit hard enough to take away his bowl, right? And you cannot be being hit flush with heavy right hands from Hergovich, thinking that you're going to get hit by those same right hands from Anthony Joshua, thinking that it's not going to have a telling effect. It's going to have a telling effect. And we saw, I don't care when people say, oh, well, he's only at Ngannou. We're looking at, we're getting, he knocked at Ngannou that's not a great win. Well, hello, did you not see what a hard fight that Ngannou gave to Tyson Fury? Right? Exactly. So therefore, I got Anthony Joshua winning this fight. Right? And I think knocking out Daniel Dubois in about 4 to 5 rounds. That's how I see it. But you know what? If I'm wrong, I'll hold my hands up to say I'm wrong. But